Bless the Lord, O my soul, blessed art thou, Lord. Bless the Lord, O my soul, and all that is within me, bless his holy name. Bless the Lord, O my soul, and forget not all he hath done for thee, who is gracious unto all thine iniquities.
One of my priest friends made a comment to me recently about how it seems that the last number of years have been Great Lent because of the COVID closures and the forced vaccine mandates and the division of churches over the issue of church closures, the demonization of people who held different views than those that were official. And one of the results of all this has been the mass exodus of a whole lot of people from church. Many churches decided to have Zoom services as the way of keeping people in church, but most people aren't going to attend church if they're not there in person. You know, sitting on your sofa with a cup of coffee watching a Zoom service is not really worship, is it? And then being deprived of the Eucharist because some parishes and some bishops decided that there should be multiple spoons. And as one young man said to me, how can we believe that this is really the body and blood of Christ if our own bishop is telling us that we could get COVID by receiving the body and blood, which is meant for the healing of soul and body? So people basically walked away. And those of us who have remained steadfast in the church during this difficult time of trial look with sadness at empty churches. Churches that are, some of them even more than half the churches are empty on Sundays. It's a sad thing. So what does that mean for those of us who have remained in the church? I was actually talking to a friend recently about the end times and how the demons are attacking not only the church but the nation. There's some evidence that the COVID was originated in a lab in China, and that the Chinese government used that as a way of bringing down the population, but also of separating those few individuals who were still churchgoers or worshipped in temples and Buddhist temples to stay away, get them adjusted to not having any life outside of their living room. And it worked. It's worked for countless people. It's turned their lives upside down. And what it has done to our children, little children being separated from their friends, and even if they are allowed to be with their friends, their forced mandate of masks, which the World Health Organization has already deemed worthless. And these little children who can only see the upper part above the nose of their friends, and they're unable to communicate and to learn to have friends and hold on to even their education. It's had a huge damaging effect on the children of our nation. And so we who are strong in the faith and keeping to the traditions of the church, I heard of one parish that actually had a side door open so people could sneak into the church to attend liturgy, and then somebody reported them, and they were threatened with being permanently closed by their city. And these are things that happen, but they don't necessarily have to happen if we stand up strongly and boldly and say, no, this is not the way it's supposed to be in a democracy. You are not my boss. We are your boss. We elected you and we can unelect you. Sadly enough, there are so many people that have bought into all of this, and they think, oh, well, here we go again. There's even some evidence that there's another supposed pandemic on its way, only worse than the last, with more mandates of masks and vaccines, and yet we have put up with it. We've allowed it to happen. There's only been a few bishops that have stood strongly and firmly against all of this. What do we do when we see bishops and priests in our midst betraying the faith? Well, first of all, we want to remember that this isn't something new. It has happened throughout the history of the church. Sometimes there's only been a remnant of true Christianity, like during the iconoclast period, when you could go to St. Catherine's Monastery in the Sinai and see icons there that are some of the oldest. But during the iconoclastic period, you couldn't find them anywhere else. There's one icon of the Holy Virgin that shows a piercing in her side with blood coming out. This was an icon that a woman hid in her private chapel in her home. And when the soldiers found out, they came, and one of the soldiers took a spear and stabbed the icon, and out came blood. And the man repented, and that icon is now venerated. These are terrible times. These are dark times. These are times that are being controlled by demons. But we Christians have Jesus Christ. We have the power of the Holy Spirit in our lives. We have the truth of orthodoxy. And if we only stand firm in the faith, no matter what happens, Orthodox Christianity will come out of this dark time and be stronger than ever. May God make it so.
Both now and ever and unto the ages of ages. Amen. Only begotten Son, and